Hey guys, welcome back to Sal's Garage. Today I wanted to talk about the sound tube that connects to the cabin. I've been getting a lot of questions on Facebook forums and YouTube comments about how it's set up, how to do it. And the first video I didn't really explain too much about it because I didn't really expect people to want to try it. So anyway, today's video is going to be talking about how to set it up, the install tips, and where I have it routed, where I have it ended to inside the cabin. It's a unique solution that I haven't seen anyone else do, especially on an NA car. These kits are primarily designed for supercharged cars to get more supercharger whine, but I've used it on turbocharged cars like my Civic over there, and the turbo sound is insane on that car with this sound tube. On an NA car, I just showed you that it works well too. So, it doesn't have to be my M3, it can be a Corvette, it can be an American car, any car that's NA. If you want to hear more induction noise, this is an option for you. First of all, you got to get the universal kit from SC Foster Mods. Once you have that kit, they'll give you the tubing you need, the end cap with the rubber diaphragm, all the elbows and rubber grommets you need. You could source the materials yourself from Home Depot, but the end cap with the rubber diaphragm might be hard to find. So I'd recommend getting that. This here is connected with a rubber grommet and an elbow. Again, this whole entire tube all the way to the cabin is sealed, so there's no leak or air, vacuum air coming into the system that's unmetered. So I've showed you the hole here that I've drilled into the plenum. It is a I think it's a 1-inch hole diameter. The hole saw comes with the kit, so that's what I used. This rubber grommet also came with the kit. Another question you may have is, this won't pass smog, so what is my plan for that? My plan is to remove the piping from the engine portion here, hide that, put my cap on it, and I have an O-ring to prevent any leaking. Push it on there, and there you go. That will pass smog. So take that back out when you're ready to put it in. Put your rubber grommet on. Try not to lose it in there. There you go. Take some supplied lubricant from the kit. Lube up the O-ring or the rubber grommet. Place the end tube in. And you're good to go. That is sealed. So you can see right there, the firewall already has a big hole that you can put the tubing through. All you need to do is bore it out and make it a little bit bigger. So you can use the supplied hole saw that they gave you to do that. You have to drill it from the inside of the car, not from the outside. There's not enough space with the master cylinder brake booster thing here, so you'll have to do it from the inside. Another question you may have is, why not put it in behind the plenum? Well, the reason why is because if you look back here, there's no space or area to really plumb it through and still have the ability to bend this without kinking it. It's a very tight space back there, so it's a difficult space to get a clean line through. I figured I'd put it here because it's in the center where all the individual throttle bodies are, so you get an even sound from up here. And all the stacks, the velocity stacks or whatever those tubes are, they're all facing this way anyway, so the sound will reverberate through the tubing better. You can also put it here if you don't want to drill your plenum and you want to just do this one, because this is cheap to replace if you need to, right on the top. Or you can do the bottom, but the bottom is very tight under there. I don't think you'd be able to fit this underneath. You can also fit it if you have the stock airbox. I've done it before where I plumbed it in through the top of the stock airbox. I guess you can do it through here too, you got a lot of options. For me, I chose to do it here out of convenience and sound. If you plumb it here at the air box itself, it's not as loud. If you plumb it here, it's really loud, but you can also tune the sound to your liking if it's too loud for you. Another common question I get is there any check engine light? The answer is no, there isn't. Is there any performance loss? The answer is also no, there isn't. This is all under vacuum and it's all airtight sealed, so there's no issues with performance at all. If you ask me if I wanted to spend $3,000 for a carbon fiber plenum just for the sound, when I can just do this mod for about $100, $150, I would rather go this route and save the money for something else like a supercharger or a big brake kit. It really does change the driving experience, makes it feel like a different car. It's absolutely louder for sure than any other option you can do. Intake, elbow, carbon plenum. And you can fine tune the sound to your liking, right? You can add baffling, you can decrease baffling for it. Now let's go inside the car and then I'll show you how it's set up on the inside. Okay, so we're inside the car. Sorry about the dirty carpeting. I gotta clean that. But anyway, let's get right over here. You need to remove these 3 screws. They are T20s. So once those are off, this panel drops and you'll need to unplug 4 wires. Okay, so I undid all 3 of those screws. Pull it down. And then here's your wires you need to undo. So take this one out here. Take this one out here. There's 2 tabs on the top and the bottom that you can take that out with. This wire, just pull, and this wire, just pull. This comes out, place it over here, don't scratch your leather. All right, now we can see how really messy it is here. So there is the rubber grommets for the wires, there's the firewall, there's my tubing. So you can see right there is where you drill the hole through the firewall. And I just fitted the tubing, extra tubing right through. Now this is where my kit differs from the actual kit, because the actual kit, what they do is they usually just put the sound tube through the firewall and it ends right over there. But for me, I wanted the sound a little more in the center of the car. I didn't want it right where my left foot was because it doesn't sound natural. It just sounds like it's coming from the pedals. So what I did was I routed the wiring, or I routed the tubing a little more all the way here to the center. So there's plenty of space in this area. This is kind of more where the vents are, like the center AC vents and stuff. This is where the sound is going to now. It's a little more natural that way. So let me take off. I'm gonna undo the zip tie that I have on those lines and I'll show you what my end cap looks like. Okay, so I cut off the zip tie and here's my end cap, and it's already sealed, so you don't have to worry about like air being sucked in through here. It is sealed. The only problem is when you start to drive around with no baffling. These are rubber gloves that I have to baffle the sound. If you start driving around with no baffling, it sounds way too much like a turboed car. Like every time you're on and off the throttle, you can hear the throttle bodies opening and sucking air in and out, and I didn't like that sound. So what I did was I added about 1, 2, 3 layers of rubber gloving, and also I put a little cotton ball at the inside of it, and what that does is it dampens the sound dramatically. Cars like the LC500 and the LFA, they have sound tubes from OEM, but they have resonators and all kinds of engineering done to tune the sound to their liking. For me, this is how I tune my sound, is I use baffling from a rubber glove, kind of like a drum head, you know. It's an extra layer. It doesn't look good, but honestly, it's down here, it's never going to be seen. It's all about sound and driving experience. With nothing on, it's way too loud, it hurts the ears, and there's way too much air sucking noises. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this kind of like right here, facing towards passenger and driver, and then I'm gonna zip tie it to this wire right over here, or this tube So just like that, and then I'll go ahead and put my cover back on again. Okay, so I have everything buttoned up and back on. As you can see, you don't see anything anymore, it's all covered up. I guess if you looked closely in through this hole, you might be able to see it underneath the steering wheel. But anyways, that's my install tips for the sound tube from SC Foster Mods. Very happy with the sound. It changes the driving experience, transforms it into a different machine. Sounds like you're driving a different car. So I love the sound so much that I pretty much drive with the valves closed like 90% of the time. Because valves closed with all that induction noise, it sounds louder to me than the carbon plenum. I've heard the carbon plenum in person, and this sounds a lot louder than the carbon plenum. And you can adjust the sound to your liking. If it's too loud, add more baffling. Anyway, if you guys made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'd be glad to answer them for you. Good luck, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.